All right, it looks like all the machinery is working today. That's fantastic. We're already off to a good start here, folks. Fantastic. Give me a second here. I'm going to check out my signal to make sure that we're live. I'm going to do some game design here for the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game engine using 2024 mechanics. There is a new release of the Arcane Subclass Arcana today, so I'm going to, I think, take a moment to take a look at that with you guys. Just doing mic check here real quick. Mic check. I'm going to doing mic check here real quick. Awfully quiet. I'm going to doing mic check here real quick. Awfully quiet. I'm not gonna mess with it right now. Maybe there's an internal balance issue. I don't know. We'll find out. I feel like I'm quieter than I usually am, but that's probably for the best. I'm going to grab this link here real quick. I'm going to do some social media posting real fast, and then we're going to get to work. So give me a moment here while I click into this stuff here real fast. I'll try to regale you with my origin story to distract you from my button pressing as I do the things. So hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them. I publish them online, and hold on, something went wrong. There we go. And grabbing that link. There we go. My links went wrong real quick, so I had to re-grab that. Okay, great. So I've been a DM since 1987. I've been a freelance illustrator since 1999. I've been a Magic the Gathering enthusiast and a fan of the color magic system since 1994. And I started creating content for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition using the color mana system in 2018. I've put out 7 books for it so far. We're working on our 8th book currently, and we're going to be rebuilding all of the color mana books for 2024. 2014 rules started coming out in 2018 that we built. And now that we've gone through a new edition revision, I want to revise all that stuff too. So we're going to update all the books. I stream 9 times per week, Monday through Friday in the morning. I do art for whatever the next book is that's going to publish. Right now, that's an Eberron adventure. So you can watch me doing landscape paintings, Bob Ross style and stuff in the mornings, Monday through Friday. And then at lunchtimes on Tuesdays and Fridays, including tomorrow, as well as Monday and Thursday nights now, including right now. We do game design for the next books I'm going to be creating. So without further ado, let me go ahead and get started here. I just got to rearrange my screen. I will open up the UA. Again, if you think this stuff is cool and you want to see more, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for notifications of when we're live in the future. If we check down here, we can click on the Arcane Subclass. Pops open here. We're going to be using this as a reference document today. And you know what? I didn't want to close that because we were working on the Forgotten Realms subclasses, but then this dropped. So I just want to get this off of our plate now while we can. And so here's the Forgotten Realms Unearthed Arcana, and here's the playtest document that we're using for the color mana system, including the martial power system, which converts all the martial classes into a mana fueled class as well. So we've spent maybe 100 and maybe even 200 episodes at this point, basically developing these systems. They work really well. The playtest that we're running on my Discord server, we're currently at level 7 and continuing to build from there. So check this stuff out if you think it's cool. Be welcome to ask any questions or whatever, drop in my Discord or notes down below. I'm happy to kick around with you guys. So let's see, let's open up the Unearthed Arcana subclasses here. I want to get rid of this marcation here. Let's see, here is the Martial Powers document that we're going to be using to update stuff. We've already done updates for all the 2014 subclasses that were forsaken and not graduated into 2024. But we've been going through and revising them. We saw that Unearthed Arcana a couple weeks ago had come out with something, so we were in the process of building that. And then I saw that the Arcane subclasses dropped today. So, and for those that aren't familiar with the martial power system, which is going to come up because I know that the Arcane Archer is in here. So maybe that's just the best place for us to start. We're going to start with the Arcane Archer, and then we'll backtrack to the Arcane domain for the Cleric, and then we'll just keep pushing through the document and see where we end up, how far we can get through this before we conclude. So zooming in a bit here into this document, and I want to open up the secondary document here to drop down into disciplines, which we'll need to probably take a look at as we rebuild the Arcane Archer. I don't know what they've done with the Arcane Archer. This is going to be a first look for me. Obviously, we've already rebuilt it, so let's tool down. The way that Arcane characters work is they all use the half casting structure of gaining ranks of power, kind of like in the Book of Nine Swords from 3rd edition, or like martial powers from 4th edition. It runs parallel to spell casting as like a half caster. For example, a paladin or a ranger could pick spells, or you could pick powers, but it's going to use the same mana pool. For the martial characters, it's using the focus key points from the monk as a short rest mechanic from level 1 to 20. If you check out the spell point sorcerer that we published here, it's Spellpoint Warlocks here. It's also part of the Color Mana Spellpoint Variant Rule Bundle, but we converted the Spellpoint Warlock in using a short rest for Pact mana, and then the Mystic Arcanum is long rest, which long rest points that you get at 11th level to 20th level. So the way that the system works is level when you cast a spell or channel a power, the level of it is how many points you spend. So first level spell, 1 point of mana. 5th level spell, 5 points of mana. 9th level spell, 9 points of mana. Like if you're casting, like say a fireball, it requires 3 mana. If it's a red spell, because it's a fireball, then you would spend 1 point of red mana, and then the other 2 points or further upcasting can be whatever mana color you want, up to you. That gives you flexibility in your mana pool, but still gives you an identity. So if you're playing, say, a Gruul sorcerer that's green and red mana, then you would be focusing on magic that's green and red in nature, because those are the colors of your guild. Fireball is naturally a red spell, but if I wanted to, like, say, get Bless, which is normally a white spell, if I want to get on my red list, I could go to my guild and research the spells so it's the color that I want as part of downtime activity between adventures. Or if I really need something right now, I could, when I am preparing my spells, I could prepare Bless because it's on my spell list, and then prepare it as a green or a red spell so that my particular Gruul character could then cast Bless. If you utilize that method, you'll end up having less spells available to you than you normally would have access to, because you're dipping into other people's colors. But like if you're playing like a Dominaria campaign where characters can have all 5 colors in their mana pool, they're not siloed like Ravnica or Strixhaven characters are, then you would have the full gamut. And it was like, well, if I want to cast Bless, I want to put some white mana into my mana pool. Or you could prepare or research it to become the spell that you want. Wizards, for instance, could find a Simic spellbook that has nothing but blue and green magic in it, and if you were a Gruul wizard that could then copy those spells from the book, you could just grab all those green spells and then add those to your spellbook as green spells as well, without having to worry about the additional research. So there's a lot of different ways you can mess around with it. So let's see. Looking at we'll start with the Arcane Archer, taking a look at how it builds, going down to the fighter that we have here, get past all the rules for channeling powers, all the options of powers, get past the Barbarian. Let's get into, there it is, the Arcane Archer. So we already have the Arcane Archer built out. We'll see if we need to make any changes to this. So Arcane Archer studies a unique elven method of archery that weaves magic into attacks produced with natural effects. The first Arcane Archer stood watch over their communities, keeping a keen eye out for dangers and using magic-infused arrows to defeat monsters and invaders. Over the centuries, other species have learned the elves' mystical methods of blending arcane aptitude. Get out of here, AI. No one likes you. With archery, and broadened their application to ranged weapons of many kinds while applying those talents to an adventuring life. So, arcane lore. Cantrip is either druidcraft or prestidigitation. Intelligence is your spellcasting ability, and you gain proficiency in the Arcana and nature skills. If you already have one of these proficiencies, you instead gain proficiency in the different skills of your choice or with 2 other skills if you have both. Cool. Arcane Shot, level 3. You learn to unleash special magical effects with some of your shots. Arcane Shot option. You learn 2 Arcane Shot options of your choice from the Arcane Shot options section later in the subclass's description. You learn an additional Arcane Shot at 7th level, 10th level, 15th level, and 18th level, 6 total. Each time you learn a new Arcane Shot option, you can also replace one option you know with a different one. So you're gonna have your 2 from level 3 to 6, and at 7 you can get a 3rd and swap 1. Okay. Using Arcane Shot once per turn when you make a ranged attack using a weapon with the ammunition property, you can apply one of your Arcane Shot options to that attack. You can decide to use the option when you hit a creature and deal damage to it unless the option doesn't involve an attack roll. You can apply one of the Arcane Shot options. Okay, got it. So when you make your attack, you can apply an Arcane Shot. You can do this once per turn. You can use this feature a number of times, equal to your intelligence modifier. So there's a limit on it. Wow. Okay. So you can use this feature a number of times, equal to your intelligence modifier. Good luck if intelligence isn't your dump stat. Arcane Shot die. Arcane Shot option refer to the Arcane Shot die. Your Arcane Shot die is a D6. If an Arcane Shot requires an intelligence modifier, blah. Okay. So let's look at our shots. So we get access to all of these. Arcane Shot options are presented here in alphabetical order. Banishing Shot, your magical temporarily sequesters your target into a harmless dim plane. The creature you hit takes additional psychic damage equal to 1 roll of your Arcane Shot die and must succeed on a charisma saving throw or be banished. While banished, the creature has incapacitated condition, speed of 0. At the end of this turn, it reappears in the space at left or the nearest space if it's already occupied. Beguiling Shot. Bursting Shot. How many shots are there? Banishing, Beguiling, Bursting, Enfeebling, Grasping, Piercing, Seeking. There's 8 shots, so you get 6 of the 8 shots that they offer. Okay. Shadow Shot takes an additional die of psychic damage. Your magic occludes the foe's vision with shadows. The creature you hit takes additional psychic damage equal to 1 of your arcane die rolls. It must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the blinded condition until the end of its next turn. So let's just track stuff here. Shadow Shot equals psychic damage plus save or blind. And before that, we'll have Seeking Shot. You grant your ammunition with the ability to seek out your target. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack. Instead, choose the creature you have seen in the last minute. The ammunition flies towards that creature, moving around corners if necessary and ignoring half cover and 3/4 cover. If the target is within your weapon's range, the target must make a dexterity saving throw. Otherwise, the ammunition disappears after traveling as far as it can. On a failed save, the target takes damage as if it were hit, plus additional force damage equal to 2 rolls of the Arcane Shot die, and you learn the target's current location. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. I like that. So let's grab that. Seeking Shot equals... when you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack. Attack equals... Dex save. Attack equals Dex save or weapon damage plus 2 arcane dice plus location. If the target is out of range, ammo reappears. That's a cool shot. I like that. Piercing Shot, and you give your ammunition an ethereal quality. When you use this option, ignores cover. ignores cover. Don't same target. Last minute scene. Dex save, weapon. Piercing shot, you give your ammunition and ethereal quality. When you use this option, you don't make an attack roll for the attack instead. Ammunition shoots forward in a 30-foot line. That is 1 foot wide. Piercing shot equals attack is a dex save. Line 30 feet wide, 5 feet, 30 feet long, 5 feet wide, originating from you, ammo vanishes, fail save equals weapon damage plus 2 arcane dice, save for half. I like that one. I like that piercing shot a lot, and I like seeking shot a lot. I like what those things do. Let's see what else. Keep on going down. Grasping shot. Your ammunition creates a clutching brambles around your target. Hit takes additional slashing damage equal to the roll of 1 arcane die. Succeeds saving throw or is restrained. This is grasping shot equals attack deals slashing arcane attack deals extra die slashing damage and SDR save or restrained. Take an action. Strength to break free. Grasping shot, enfeebling shot. Your ammunition saps your character's strength. The character hit it takes additional product. Okay, so enfeebling enfeebling shot equals attack deals extra die necro damage. Target must make a con save or poisoned. It subtracts poison this way hit with an attack roll. Whenever a target poisoned in this way hits with an attack roll, it subtracts an amount equal to 1 roll of your arcane shot die from the total damage of that attack. Your ammunition saps your target's strength and chronic damage. The target must also succeed on a Constitution saving throw or have the poison condition until the end of its next turn. Poisoned until end of next turn. Subtract die from its attack. Is it attack rolls or is it damage? From its damage roll. Okay, and then enfeebling shot. We're now on what? Explosive shot. Let's get my screens lined up here properly. Bursting shot. There's some things here I like. Bursting shot, you imbue your ammunition with explosive force energy. Immediately after you deal damage to the creature, you target each creature within 10 feet emanation. Originating from the target, take force damage equal to 2 rolls of the arcane shot die. Hold on. Bursting shot equals all creatures within 10 feet of target take 2 dice of damage. Force energy. After you deal damage, your target and there you go. All creatures within 10 feet. Within 10 feet of target. Plus the target take 2 dice of force damage. That's bursting strike, and then beguiling shot. Beguiling shot equals psychic damage. Wisdom save. 2 rolls of your arcane shot. Let's see. Psychic damage. 2 dice of damage. Wisdom save. Charmed. Charmed. Treating either you or one of your allies within 30 feet of your choice as the charmer to the charmed condition ends early at the charmer's attack. Until must succeed with a saving throw or have the charmed condition until the start of your next turn. Treating either you or one of your allies within the target as the charmer. So, or charmed to you or creature in 30 feet, which basically means that creature becomes your ally. And this lasts until next turn. Until next turn, unless damaged. There we go. And then I believe the last one we have is Banishing Shot. Banishing Shot equals 1 die. Psychic damage. Psych damage. 1 die of damage. It's a cost save for banished until end of next turn. Okay, so those are the shots. What else do we get? We get 6 out of 8 of those at any given time. And then what? Curving shot at 7. You learn how to direct an errant shot towards a new target. If you make an attack roll with a weapon with the ammunition property and miss, as a bonus action immediately after the attack, you can make an extra attack with the same weapon against a different target that you can see that is within the weapon's long range, and that isn't behind total cover. This extra attack doesn't require ammunition. Bonus action. Immediately after the attack, you can make an extra attack. Huh. I guess this is representing you using the same shot to make another attack as a directed action, as a bonus action. And then Ever Ready Shot, also at 7. When you roll initiative and you have no uses of Arcane Shot left, you regain 1 expended use of it. And then at 10, you get a D8. At 15, you get a D10. And 18, you get a D12. And that's it. Jesus. Okay. All right. Well, we're going to keep what we got. I'm already really happy with how the martial power system works. I just wanted to pay that a little bit of respect to see where it sits. So, like all martial power classes, you get 10 bonus powers, just like spellcasters get. Most spellcasters get 10 bonus spells. So you get the Piercer feat for free, but you don't get the stat bonus. You get Sharpshooter for free, but you don't get the stat bonus. Martial Strike, which allows you to use any weapon mastery that you know with your attack, if the type of weapon could potentially use it. Like you could use Cleave on any melee weapon. You could use Grappler with any weapon. You could use Nick on any light weapon. Push with like literally any weapon. For instance, Topple with literally any weapon. So like if I had Topple and Push with this, I could use Topple and Push with my longbow because I use a Martial Strike. I could use that power with it and deal extra damage. The damage that we deal, again going back up to, actually, we can stay here in position and just open up a different page here real quick. So the way that the power structure works is we get a power die automatically. It's kind of like a martial power. It's like a martial arts die or a superiority die or a bardic inspiration die. It starts with a D6, becomes a D8, eventually becomes a D12. The number of powers that we get starts with 4, which you also would pick like you would pick fighting styles and weapon masteries from those prepared powers on top of anything that you'd want to spend mana on. And then the max rank of power, you have your mana supply. And then the max rank of power that you can channel at your level, it follows half casting progression, 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. And every time you, like, say on these strike powers, like say at 5th level, I could cast, I could like say, oops, I'm in the wrong thing, Side Warrior, no. Side Warrior, no. Arcane Archer, there we go. Like, for example, Martial Strike, it's at 5th level, I could use Martial Strike, I could spend 2 mana, I could roll 2 dice and add those to it. By 17th level, I can spend 5 mana to add 5 dice of damage to my attack roll. I can do these anytime I make an attack and hit, unless something specifies that you can't use a strike with it. I could do that as multiple attacks, as a bonus action if I can attack with a bonus action, as reactions like opportunity attacks. I could use it that way as well. So it has a lot of flexibility. These are all listed. I'm not going to go over the specific details because we went over these like last month. So you can check back in the list, but all the powers exploits are all listed here. And again, this document is available to anyone that wants to check it out. Here is the document here. You can crack open. It'll be read-only for you, but you can still read it. So enjoy. Going back to the Arcane Archer. Let's see, what do we already have built into here? So Druidic Circle, you gain proficiency in Woodcarver tools, and you follow one of 2 orders. Druidic Circle, Eldritch Order, gain the Druidcraft cantrip and proficiency in Nature. Gain the Prestidigitation cantrip and proficiency. Okay, well I like the change that they have going on so far at level 3. So let's just grab that. Arcane Archer lore. Arcane Archer lore. Cantrips. Cantrip. You know either the Druidcraft or Prestidigitation cantrip using your channeling ability to cast it. In your channeling ability as a fighter, it can be strength, dexterity, or intelligence, your choice. The intelligence is, even though you don't need to use intelligence for any of these things, you could be casting things with your strength score, but having the intelligence class option is useful if you want to dip into this to Gish. So like if you have a wizard, you could then, or like say a scion or an artificer, you could dip into fighter and not have to worry about if you're going to synergize well. You could use this to gain powers to use with your intelligence ability score if you chose. And what else? Skills. Gain the arcane, gain proficiency in Arcana and Nature skills, or different ones if you know these, if you already have them. Or a different skill if you have one or both already. And is that it? Okay. Arcane Shot. You can create temporary non-magical ammunition for ranged weapons of your choice while making a ranged attack. For ranged weapons of your choice while making a ranged, you can create temporary non-magical ammunition for any ranged weapon you're proficient with. For any ranged weapon you're proficient with while making a ranged attack, which disappears after finishing the attack. In addition, choose one type of damage from the basic meta power damage type of list. Whenever you fire an arrow from a short bow or long bow, you can deal the chosen type of damage if the attack hits. You can change the chosen type of damage when you finish a short or long rest. And good. In addition, choose one type of damage. Okay, cool. We get our bonus spell list up above. Arcane Shot. Let's look at Arcane Shot. And then we have... looking at our list, we already have Beguiling Shot, which is an option that you could choose. But you don't have to have... There's 27 different strike powers. And your character can use every single one of them as an arcane archer, just pick from your list. You automatically get martial strike, and you already get, which we talked about, and then you automatically get repositioning strike, which is when your weapon damage increases by 1 power die per mana channeled, and you can move 5 feet per mana channeled. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, and you can move 5 feet per mana channel as part of the attack. The movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. So I could fire like at 5th level. I could deal, if I put 2 mana into it, I could deal 2 extra d6s of damage and move 10 feet without provoking opportunity attack. At 9th level, I could put up to 3 mana into it for 3 8-sided dice of damage, and then move up to 15 feet without provoking an opportunity attack. And again, keeping in mind, for those that are already familiar with this, you know this already, but for people that are new to the channel, welcome to the mix. We can expend action economy to generate free mana during combat. So I could, like at 9th level, I could sacrifice my bonus action to generate 2 points of mana that I could then spend during this turn. I could also sacrifice my reaction for a point of mana, or I could sacrifice individual attacks from the attack action. So if I only wanted to fire once, like I could make my first shot, and if I hit, I could then sacrifice my second attack and my bonus action to deal 3 dice worth of damage for free, and with repositioning strike, move 15 feet without provoking opportunity attack. I would have exhausted both my attacks and my bonus action. That leaves me with my movement and a reaction, and then my round is, and then I'm done. So it speeds up combat by sacrificing action economy to generate more mana for you to do more things when you hit. Again, all of this stuff is linked in the Martial Powers document down below. You can take a look at it. But the temporary mana simply says that if you generate temporary mana, it has to be expended during that same turn. So like if you're taking a reaction and you're using temporary mana during that reaction, it has to be spent during that turn's reaction. Or if you're doing it during your own turn, you've got until the end of your turn to use it any way that you want. And again, you can generate that mana with a reaction for 1 point. At each attack that you make during the attack action is 1 point. Like Flurry of Blows from a monk, for instance, you get 2 attacks, but you can't use Flurry of Blows to generate mana because it's not part of the normal attack action. So, but bonus actions at 1st level, it'll generate 1 point. At 9th level, it generates 2 points, and at 17th level, it generates 3 points of mana. And again, you can spend that on anything that you want during your turn with whatever action economy you have left. So looking at the Arcane Archer specifically again, so we have the Arcane Archer Shot, we have Curving Shot and Ever Ready Shot. Let's see. Magic Arrow. Advanced damage when you channel a strike power to the attack, you don't reduce the power die. And you can choose from the advanced types of magic arrows. And Curving Shot, when you make an attack roll when you make an attack roll with a target weapon and miss, you can use a reaction. I'm gonna say you can use a bonus action Bonsu. You can use a bonus action or reaction to re-roll attacking a different target within long range that you can see. A different target that you can see isn't behind total cover. There you go. Attacking a different target with the same ammunition that you can see, which doesn't have total cover within long range of your weapon. So by allowing you to use your bonus action or your reaction, and you have 2 attacks at 5th level, when this clicks in at 7th level, you could use Curving Shot twice. Make your attack. If you miss, you can use a bonus action to redirect the shot. You then have another shot, you can fire, and if that misses, you could then use your reaction to clean up that other shot as well if you want. I like that modification that they made. I like the general change to the language. I just think it's too restrictive. I like being able to use your reaction during your own turn. I just think it makes it more efficient, and if you're using a reaction during your own turn, you don't have to worry about using it during someone else's turn. Let's see, Curving Shot, that's set, and then we're looking at Ever Ready Shot. When you roll initiative and have no uses of Arcane Shot left, you regain 1 expended use of it. Well, you have a mana pool, and by sacrificing action economy, you have infinite mana during combat, so you don't need to regain shots, and the fighter in general can expend your second wind to regain mana up to the max rank of power that you've gained. So 1, 5, 9, 13, 17. At 17th level, you get, 3 second winds, and you can get 5 points of mana for each one that you do. It allows you to use more of your action economy during combat and still be able to burn through a lot of powers. So that's cool, but then all we have is Improved Shot, Powerful Shot, and Masterful Shot. Those are the 3 things. That's all we get, and we already have that built into the chassis of the fighter in general by gaining power dice. So going back up here, we already get power dice, d6, d8, d10, but you can stack them by however much mana you spend and roll multiple dice, just like the 2014 Paladin could, with the same on hit effect. On hit, spend mana. There you go. So I wanna change these things. What did we see that I liked? I like the Piercing Shot and I like the Seeking Shot. So I think I want to implement those. So let's go back down to here. Search of power, empowered shots. When you hit a ranged target, you generate 1 point. Okay, yeah, we can swap these things out. So let's see. Piercing Shot, Dex save, Seeking Shot, ignores cover, same target last minute, seen. Dex save, when you hit with a ranged weapon, when using action surge to take, you deal an additional power die of damage when you hit with a ranged attack. That's a good one. Empowered shots, when you hit with a ranged weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana you can use to channel a strike power. You can channel a maneuver or sustain power. You can make a ranged attack as part of the attack action. Okay, I think I want to take Piercing Shot and Seeking Shot and make those class features, because all these other shots are already strike powers that exist in the martial power system that you can just select and have access to. So Seeking Shot I like a lot. So let's go with Seeking Shot. I think at 15 feels good. Which is, well, hey, what's going on, Ron? With how many people rely on previous experience in the system, how do you make a homebrew most approachable? Well, you got to know your audience, and you have to. It has to be. That's a great question, by the way. I think knowing what your homebrew is for. Like it has to have a specific flavor that's going to resonate with an audience that's going to be interested in it. Like, for example, these ideas that we're building in this document are both for people that are interested in a color mana system from Magic the Gathering to use in D&D. That's what the mana points that we're spending on here are built around, the color mana system. But martial powers in a generic sense, without using color mana, is for people that feel that the martial caster divide that exists in the 5e game engine should be fixed. So those are the audiences that would be interested, say, in martial powers specifically. For the larger scope of spell point books that I create. I created them to provide a more intuitive spell point system to demonstrate how elegantly spell points complement 5e game design more so than what the spell slot system that spellcasters are stuck with have in 24. And again, it's a love letter to the Magic the Gathering idea of the 5-color magic system to use in a role-playing game. And since Wizards owns both MTG and D&D, it's just natural that I would take mana mechanics, spell point system, and build a color theme around it, so that Ravnica, Strixhaven, Theros, Innistrad, whatever campaign setting you're running your characters in, would resonate with. But like, for example, the Spelljammer combat and exploration system that I have published down below, you can check that book out. All the books I publish, they all have 100% free preview. So you can drop down and look at the list of stuff and click on any of those and then look at the free previews. You can see all the content that I make. But like for example, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, I built that specifically for people that were disappointed that there wasn't a combat system provided for 5e. The SCE book that I have, Spelljammer Combat Exploration, it converts ship combat into the 5e game engine, so that you have actions, bonus actions, reactions, movements, action economy as a ship, with your team all contributing action economy from their characters into actions that can be taken on the ship as like a group action tandems at the 5-foot scale for your characters, 50-foot scale for like ship melee combat or for fighter craft combat, and at the 500-foot scale for vessels and fleet combat. But it uses all the 5e mechanics that you already know for your character. Basically, it's like if you know how to have combat with a character on the back of a horse, it's the same mechanics as that, but you're operating at the 50 and 500 foot scale, and you can have multiple people on the horse with you, all taking actions with you at the same time. And then the exploration side of that was, there is no exploration mechanics in Spelljammer or 5e in general. So the other half of that book was to create exploration systems so that you could hex crawl through wild space or the astral sea. So those mechanics were missing from the Spelljammer system in 5e that were really prevalent in 2e. So taking that 2e mentality and converting it into the 5e game engine, that's the theme and focus of that supplement. So you want to think about, what am I attempting to achieve with this homebrew, and who is it for? And if there's an audience that connects with the goals of your book, then that's naturally who you're going to be speaking to about it, marketing it towards, and trying to get involved in game. If we're talking 5e specifically, like I'm developing a separate role-playing game called Guild Delvers, which is built around like the Beckme Maze Rat style of very light mechanics of basically rolling a die or two to determine what your characters are doing, but being able to basically improv what actions your character is able to take on a round-by-round basis in a dungeon crawl situation. So it becomes more like a party game that you could just throw some dice down on the table and start narrating actions. And if you just have an idea, you can just take the dice and roll them and resolve against a number that the DM would provide. So it's a very loose, fast system that's built specifically for people that don't have the time or the patience to be bogged down with deeper mechanics. It basically converts the whole game into ability checks. So it's like those are a few different examples of how you would cater different homebrew content depending on who your audience is, if that makes any sense. So blending systems known makes the most difference for players who have some experience. It depends on the players more than definitely so. Like there's a really big interest in Shadow Dark this past year or so. Like Kelsey Dion, who created Shadow Dark, had been using that system at conventions for years, playtesting it, getting it to a point where it was fast, efficient, felt really fun to play, but still had that just enough grittiness to kind of feel like 5e. That system was developed for people that liked the simplicity of like the mechanical unity of the 5e game engine, but wanted the simplicity of Beckme style dungeon crawling. So it really is this kind of a crossbreed that's targeting these old schoolers that miss how D&D used to play in the 70s and 80s, but appreciate how simple a mechanic the 5e game engine, the D20 systems really are. So like that's another good example. Like Heroes with Capes. Heroes with Capes is another great example. Kids on Bikes. I forget the name of the company that builds that. But Kids on Bikes basically simulates E.T., Stranger Things, that kids on bikes dealing with world threats. And what's interesting about that is all the kids are weak. They can't really stand up to adults. They certainly can't fight monsters. But there's like an NPC, like a DM character that isn't controlled by the DM, but is controlled by the entire team of players, like your L or ET or I don't know, anything. Say if you were playing like the Seven Dwarves and then you had Shrek on your team, like Shrek would be your tank, and the tank can take out multiple enemies. It's the adults on the team that helps protect the kids while they're doing their investigation. That's the base framework, like the premise of what Kids on Bikes are. But now they're developing Kids with Capes, which takes it so that all the kids have superpowers that you don't share inside of one character among your team, but everybody on the team now has their own superpowers. Basically, kind of bending into like the 5e scale of power of using the Kids on Bikes game engine. That came up because so many people were like, I would like to play a game where my character is L, or my character is whoever the tough is on the party, the tank on the party. So that's where Kids with Capes is coming from. It's the same game system, but it's being used in a different way, kind of like Pirate Borg and Cyberorg, and our modifications of Morton Borg, where you like that dread apocalypse, but now in different themes. So you're catering to these different individual audiences, if that makes sense. So that's a great question, but the scope is really wide. You need to know, like, what game engine am I building it for, and what's the audience in that game engine? What are people that play that game engine? What do they like a lot? And then building in that direction. Like if you were to build something for Lancer, for instance, people like tactical gritty combat in Lancer in a vaguely D&D 4e game engine sort of framework. So any supplements that you're creating for Lancer is either going to be expanding on what types of actions can be taken inside of that game engine's action economy, or creating like a new faction, or a new scale of mech that you can operate inside of, or creating new types of scenarios to operate those mechs in during your adventure. Like those are the different, like, obvious branches that you can take Lancer in different directions. So if that helps further illustrate the idea. So it really relies on what game engine are you using, what are the people that use that game engine, what are they looking for, what do they like. That's going to determine whether you resonate with them or not. So, it seems like a lot of gamers diverge from the norm depending on the players, but thought out beforehand. It seems like a lot of games diverge from the norm depending on the players, but thought out beforehand. Do you mean games as in like built game engine games, or are you talking about like specific campaigns or sessions of playing a game? Because I'm not sure exactly which one you're looking at there. But while you pull together your next thought or help me clarify that, I'm gonna chew on the Arcane Archer a little bit more, because I know I want to make the piercing shot and the seeking shot. I want to make these powers, so I think I want to go with seeking shot ignores cover. Last 2 minutes scene. Yeah, I like seeking shot at 15th, and piercing shot at 10th makes a lot of sense. So let's go with piercing shot. And then I think we're just gonna leave empowered shot as it stands. When you hit with a ranged weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana. You can use to channel a strike power. When you hit with a ranged weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana you can use to channel a strike power. There you go. That makes sense. Seeking shot we just looked at, so let's translate it. Let's see. Seeking shot is as an attack, you can fire You can fire. You can as a ranged weapon attack, you can. I don't like how I'm wording that. Let's go back to. Actually, you know what? I'm trying to reinvent the horse, and I don't need to reinvent the horse. You go, Phil. It is. I'm just gonna gank Seeking Shot here. Copy. Instead of making an attack roll, there we go. The target we're just gonna gank this. You don't make an attack roll with the attack. Instead, choose one creature you have seen in the last minute. The ammunition, let's see. Once per... As a... Hold on. When you make an attack with a ranged weapon you're proficient with, when you make a ranged attack weapon, when you make a ranged weapon, when you make an attack with a ranged weapon you're proficient with, instead of making an attack roll, choose one creature you have seen in the last minute. The ammunition flies towards that creature, moving around corners if necessary and ignoring half cover. If the target is within your weapon's long range, the target makes a dexterity saving throw. Otherwise, the ammunition disappears after traveling as far as it can. On a failed save, the target takes damage. As if hit by an additional force damage equal to, okay, great, yeah. On a failed save, the target takes damage as if it were a hit, including any strike or combat mastery, comma. When you make an attack with a ranged weapon you're proficient with, instead of an attack roll, choose one creature. I could make this a maneuver that would require either a magic action or a bonus action. I like the idea of it reducing action economy and having a cost associated with it, since you can generate so much mana for free anyway. Like as a unique first rank maneuver, you can use a Seeking Shot, so it's going to eat up attacks or your bonus action to use it. But I'm figuring, is it really broken for us to just allow them? It's a dexterity saving throw instead of normal. On a failed save, the target takes damage as if it were hit, including any strikes. You channel any strikes or combat mastery. You choose to channel with the attack, and you learn the target's location. On a successful save, the target takes half as much damage only. When you make an attack roll with a ranged weapon and miss, you can use a piercing shot. When you channel a maneuver or sustain power, you can make a ranged weapon attack as part of the magic action or bonus action. To do so, let's do it this way. You can channel powers with ranged weapon attacks, targeting creatures up to targeting creatures in within the long range of your weapon. Within long range. In addition, seeking shot, I'm good with that. Curving shot. You can attack roll with a ranged weapon and miss. You can use a bonus action or reaction to reroll, attacking a different target. Advanced damage. You don't, okay, advanced damage. When you channel a strike power through ranged attacks, you don't reduce the power die, and you can choose from advanced damage types for your magic arrow. So when you use when you use strike powers, like you have a D6 at first, D8 at 9th, and D10 at 17th, but if you're using a ranged weapon, it gets reduced to a D4, D6, or D8 respectively. This advanced damage arcane shot at 7th level neutralizes that, so you're using, like at 9th level, it goes to D8. The ranger gets this as well if you choose the empowered archery option at 2nd level. I like that. And curving shot makes sense. Seeking shot is an advanced form of curving shot. Advanced damage evolves further at 15 with the and normally you can only channel strike powers and stuff with ranged weapons. Not only do you reduce the die normally, but you can also only use those powers within the normal range of the weapon. It's not usual that you're able to use only the ranger and the arcane archer are able to use that extended range. So that makes them unique. Hey, what's up? Okay, great. Update. What's up? Some campaigns and arcs can be part of an initial plan as a response to the party actions or improv as opposed to pre-made. Hard to read a new party sometimes. I do a lot of one-off games. Oh, got it. It seems like a lot of games diverge from the norm. Depending, some campaigns and arcs can be part of the initial plan. Like if you're playing Descent into Avernus, for example. That would be your assumed path of power, the assumed journey that the character is going to take as a response to the party's action or improv as opposed to pre-made. Hard to read a new party. Some campaigns and arcs can be part of an initial plan. Right, so like if you're planning on running Descent into Avernus, but they decide to ditch Elturel and take over Baldur's Gate because there's a flood of refugees coming in, they want to build a new criminal syndicate inside of Baldur's Gate. If your DM is open to that, yeah, fuck it. We don't need to play Descent into Avernus. That'll fix itself with other characters because you're not interested in that. Meanwhile, you have all these refugees that are flooding in from Elturel that you have an opportunity to build your Thieves Guild with. Like, that would be acceptable to me. If we hadn't all agreed we're going to play Descent into Avernus, if it was just a random campaign and I got into Baldur's Gate and then shit started happening in the events of Descent into Avernus, like Elturel disappears, your characters hear about in Baldur's Gate when all these refugees start showing up, then it's like, let's get involved with what happened to Elturel. Or you could be like, whoa, I don't want to deal with that at all, but I love the opportunity that's here. If I just drop this into into a Hexcrawl style open-ended campaign, either one of those options to me would be completely acceptable, because what vibe is it that the characters want to follow? It doesn't mean that there won't be some sort of fallout happening around Elturel as a result of it descending into hell. Maybe by the time the characters get to 15th level, that Hellmouth has stayed open. One of the winners, either the Abyss or the Nine Hells, won the conflict and are now crawling out of the Hellmouth to attack the rest of society around us. Now you need to defend Baldur's Gate against a horde of demons that's coming out because no one ever fixed that hole. Then maybe you change the focus of the campaign to deal with that. But if you're just running an open campaign, it wouldn't matter. It'd be up to the character. They can say, hell with that. We're going to take our pirate boats. We're going to go to the Moonshade Islands. I will see you guys later when you deal with hell. Like, that would also be perfectly acceptable. It's just, yeah, absolutely. It just depends on what kind of a game you're running and what agreements did you make in session 0 about, like, what the structure is supposed to be, how open-ended is it, are you going to follow a particular type of campaign? These are all questions. Yeah, these are all 0 session questions. More about expectations before they start to play. That makes sense. Yeah, it really is. Like how much, like, are phones out okay? Does anyone have any taboo subjects that they'd like to stay away from that we can build away from so we don't have to worry about it inside of the game? What's your expectations on death? Like, I ran a campaign. I run campaigns from level 1 to 20 in about 270 hours. I ran 4 of them in the 5e game engine since 2016. And one particular campaign, when I asked the team, hey, what do you guys want to do? Some of them had been the first time they'd ever played D&D before. So they specifically asked, hey, I want to play a character. I want to run a full campaign. So they decided they were willing to lock in for a 1 to 20 campaign. I'm like, this is how long it's going to take. And they're like, that's okay. I'm like, okay, if you're in for the long haul, I am too. So established that we're going to do the full gamut from level 1 to 20. Because sometimes you can say, let's just do like a short thing for like level 3 to 10. Or like, let's do a mid-level campaign from like level 7 to 14. And we'll just cut it quits there. You know, depending on how you want to do it. But this campaign was, we want to go from level 1 to 20. We want to have the same characters from beginning to end. We want combat as a threat, but we don't want our characters to die. Or rather, if they do, we want them to come back. So that created a really unique set of scenarios where I'm going to run with the same characters, all 20 levels. And although I can beat them up, I can't kill them permanently. Or if I do kill them permanently, they have to come back. So that's what led to us creating the Groundhog Day campaign, where at the end, when they took a long rest, they would wake up at the beginning of the next day, just like from the movie Groundhog's Day with Bill Murray. If you haven't seen it, that's an amazing movie. Super fun movie, super hard. If one character dies, all the characters reset back to the beginning of the day. So all the characters through the entire campaign from level 1 to 20, death, the only thing death meant was that you had to try again, which meant that I could do things like save or die. Like if you take the wrong step, your character blows up and now you're dead. You know not to step there next time. You could have a difference between creatures that know, that are unaware that days repeat. You can take advantage of them and eventually gain more and more bonuses and advantages to overcome them as a skill challenge and just neutralize them as a threat. Or you could have other creatures that are also trapped inside of time loops alongside you that are also gaining in levels and power as well. And the experience that your characters gain to gain levels represents how much more proficient they are at navigating this time loop space. Like, want to learn some extra spells? Let's just loop 15, 20 days while you research it. And at the end of that time, you're going to have a new spell. They eventually learn to tattoo themselves with different things on them because they realized that when they reset, they would come back with those tattoos on them because they were if they were magically imbued tattoos, it would affect them. If they were killed by magical damage like lightning or necrotic damage, they would have accumulating scars on their body. So they knew something was happening that was hanging over from one loop to the next. So there was some sort of acknowledgement that they aren't truly looping through just one timeline over and over again, that there were somehow shifting realities. And once they figured that out, they started manipulating those ideas and started fucking around with the physics of the game until they found out that they could actually change their anchor point so they wouldn't always wake up at the beginning of the day hungover with a sandwich. Instead, they were like, we're gonna do this ritual so we can bind ourselves to this location, like bonfires, like a Dark Souls bonfire. They figured out how to do that, so when they would loop, they can come back to a specific point, and that gave them freedom to be able to roam the grid more because they could go more than they could, like say, in a 16-hour time period before a long rest took them and they got reset anyway. So like, it was a really fun way to be able to manipulate the game, but that came from a specific set of parameters that we established at session 0. I hadn't set up the game yet. I had no intentions about what the campaign would be. I just want to know, hey, what kind of game do you? I can do anything. So what do you want? Like a Wild West something or what? It's like, no, we're just going to do like a generic D&D campaign with these rules. And that's how we came up with this campaign, and it was probably one of the best campaigns I've ever ran. But they were all super on board with it. So they asked for it, and when I didn't tell them it was a time loop campaign. I just started running the campaign like normal, and then I killed all of them, and they woke back up at the bar, hungover, with the bartender dropping eggs in front of them, telling them to get up. And that's when I explained to them the rules of the game. They're like, "Oh, that's perfect." So that really worked out well. But they went 3 sessions before dying in the same day before realizing that they were in a time loop. So it's all of it. The timing was perfect. Yeah, it was really fun. Oh yeah, fantastic! That's awesome. They were all evil familiars. Nice. Evil wizards in the Cabal tried to use Wish and Time Stop at the same time. Oh, that's fantastic! How fun! Yeah, I have a long-term goal of taking that campaign and building it into a toolkit that could be used basically in any game engine, but just take that premise and the rules that have been set up and basically the guidelines that I had used to make the campaign run smoothly from level 1 to 20. Obviously, it's built for D&D, but it could work in Pathfinder, or it could work in Daggerheart, or Maze Rats, or anything really. It's the premise and the underlying physics of how you interact with character death and how do you progress and how do you deal with death traps and stuff like that. But yeah, I've got like 1,000. The joke is that I've got 10,000 projects that I want to do. I've got 10,000 years worth of projects that I want to do. I've got like maybe 20 years left to do them, so I have to pick wisely. So we'll see if I eventually get to the Groundhog Day toolkit. But I was part of there was a on the DMsGuild, there's a supplement called Adventures in Chronomancy, and I got hired to do the book cover, as well as, here I'll show you guys. This is a major tangent, but we're just having fun tonight anyway. So let's go to DMsGuild, and let's look at Adventures in Chronomancy. This isn't my book, so it's not 100% free preview like the rest of my stuff is. And I don't know what's taking you so long. There we go. Yeah, so I made this book cover. And the idea is that there's these paths of time that exist, it's like you have the astral plane, shadow plane, ethereal plane. This is like the plane of time. It's a sideline, and there's all these portals that open to different times that you can run through in this in between space to be able to move. And the in between is built like a dungeon to be able to maneuver, like caverns, to be able to maneuver through with creatures and stuff. And here we've got a bunch of phase spiders that have basically built webs inside of this in-between space, and obviously you just see characters running around being chased by a dragon and shit like that. Somebody coming through a portal to try to rescue somebody from being trapped. But I got recruited to do the book cover as well as make a number of scenarios. So one of the scenarios in the book was a knot of webbing that we're depicting here that were built by these phase spiders. They're netting together all these different strands of time so that they became immortal. So you could kill a phase spider, but it would just come back. And it was like a recharge die. If you kill the mother of the swarm, it had a recharge like 4. So on a 6-sided die, if you roll 4, 5, or 6, it just respawns and comes back at you, remembering everything that you've done. And that became the foundation that eventually led to the Groundhog campaign that I led. So the team would open portals in this time space and be able to run from one portal into another to be able to jump space in real time, because there's no time in the in-between. So they would move in between to another space-time anchor, and once they found out how to manipulate time-space directly, they could create new portals that would lead to different times or different locations as a teleport, as like a gotta walk there yourself teleport spell. But yeah, Adventures in Chronomancy is what got me started thinking about that, because I built a like 4 different layer challenges, and the phase spiders was one of the layers. So I do artwork. I started being a DM in 1987, and then artwork was a huge passion of mine that ran alongside running games. And in '99, I got good enough that people would start paying me to do my artwork. And then I continued to develop, and now I'm at a point where I make my own books and I do all the illustrations in my own books as basically as a way to get the artwork that I want without having to pay for it, because I just pay myself with the profits of the book to pay for the artwork and the time spent building stuff. But yeah, this is one of those ideas. So anyway, where were we at? We're looking at... So yeah, so we're working on the Arcane Archer here. Piercing Shot, we have that. Seeking Shot. So Piercing Shot, when you channel him, no, I don't like that anymore. We're replacing that. We have Seeking Shot already. I'm super good with that being your 15th level ability on top of like all the other powers that you get. You get 23 powers from level 1 to 20. You get the 10 bonus powers that we talked about already. So just like a wizard or a druid or a cleric or whatever, you'll end up with 23 options. 10 are pre-built into the subclass that you choose, and the other 23 you can swap out and prepare on a long rest. Yeah, so Arcane Archer lore works. You are trained in Arcane Archery. Gaining the following benefits. And then we have Magic Arrow. Choose a damage type. So with this system in particular, instead of preparing a power like Shocking Strike, for instance, it's first rank, so you only have to spend at least 1 mana on it. But there are higher ranked powers, like for example, Restraining Strike is 2 mana. So damage increases by 2 power dice per mana expended, and the creature is restrained. The creature can end the effect by succeeding a strength or dexterity check against your channeling DC. Size large or larger creatures roll advantage. So anyone can pick up Restraining Strike. A rogue, a barbarian, a fighter, a monk, a paladin, a ranger, artificer, a warlock using Pact of the Blade. Any of them can pick up Restraining Strike. So for the Arcane Archer is no exception. I can pick this up and use any ranged weapon, except I'm going to be rolling a smaller power die because it's a ranged weapon, and I can only use it within the normal range of my weapon instead of my long range. But as we were looking, with the 15th level, I can now channel powers with ranged weapon attacks targeting creatures within long range. A ranger can do it as early as 2nd level, but for this fighter specifically, you don't get access to it until pretty late. Piercing Shot, that's what we're trying to work through right now. I'm good with Curving Shot, advanced damage type. We get rid of the reduced power die with the advanced damage type, but we're still within normal range. So let's grab Piercing Shot real quick. I'm just going to gank the language that they use in the document. I think there's text. Give me a minute. Let me make some progress here. Copy. Piercing Shot. Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? Just popping by to ask you to check your Discord DMs. I think a member of your Discord got hacked. Oh, shit. Thanks for the heads up. I will check that at the end of the stream. Just popping in to ask you to check your Discord DMs. I think a member... Actually, that sounds important enough that I need to adjust my screen here real quick and go check on that. Yeah, you guys can't see behind scenes right now, so give me a hot second here. I'll go check in on that. If there's a problem, I'll clean it up. I don't want anyone else to fall prey to anything. So thanks for the heads up, Bob. I really appreciate you, my man. message. I think I have it managed, but if any message gets deleted before you see it, I know. Discord. And go down to my Discord. Sorry for the detour, folks. Checking in. Okay, well, I appreciate that heads up. I have to press some buttons here, folks. Give me a second while I keep my Discord clean and safe. And okay. Okay, everything should be fine now. Let me go ahead and go back to my normal activity. And we'll carry on. Doing well. Yeah, no kidding, my dude. Sorry to hear about that. Yeah, I went ahead and blocked him. The dude that you're talking about had approached me about a video game, and I said no. I wasn't interested in looking at anything, and I'm glad that I didn't. My instincts told me it was a bad thing to do, so I stayed away from it. And so, good luck, my man. I appreciate you dropping by and letting me know. They've been kicked from my server, and I've blocked them in Discord DMs, so I won't be interacting with them in the future. The only way we can get better is by making mistakes. Hopefully it didn't cost you too much. So I'm really sorry to hear that, though, dude. But thanks for keeping an eye out and being part of the community. I appreciate you watchdogging. So thank you. Oh man, bad actors everywhere, dude. Let's take this and drop it in. We have it in there, and I hope so. Yeah, it's important. That's important. Okay, I think mischief has been managed, right, Blob? So we can carry on. Let's see. The man shoots forward. Okay, when you make an attack, as a maneuver, as a first rank maneuver, you can fire ammunition You can fire ammunition, which becomes a 30-foot line that is 1 foot wide, originating from you, then vanishes. The line ignores cover. As the ammunition phases through solid objects, each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes damage as if it were hit, plus by an attack from the weapon, including any power or combat mastery you channel. On a successful save, creature takes half as much damage. Cool. Piercing shot. Super easy. So you can make your attack, let's say D10 plus 7 damage from a longbow. It's a 30-foot line. You hit. If I hit, well, rather it's going to be an attack. So I could, like, say, spend. It's a maneuver. Let's see. You can fire ammunition, which becomes a one-line originating from you within. The line ignores cover. As ammunition phases through objects, each creature in the line must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failed save, a creature takes damage equal to, takes 1 power die of damage for each point of mana expended this way. On a successful save, a creature takes half as much damage. So we're going to make this as a second rank maneuver. So second rank means you have to spend at least 2 mana on it, which would then trigger up the power die. At 10th level, you can channel at least 3 mana. So you could put 3 mana into it as either an action, as a magic action, a bonus action, or both in the same round if you wanted to. Costing you at least 2 mana to fire it, which will do 2 power dice of damage. Everyone 30-foot line, 1 foot wide, ignores all cover, and they all of them get a saving throw. They'll either take 1 die of damage if they fail, 2 dice if they fail, 1 if they succeed, or, like at 17th level, 5 10-sided dice, and that's a saving throw. So you'd roll your 5d10, and then whoever succeeds takes half damage. There you go. So, not bad. It ramps up 1 die up to 5 max at 17th level. Otherwise, I feel like this is done. When you hit with a ranged weapon attack, you generate 1 point of temporary mana you can use to channel a strike power. That's your capstone 18th level feature of Empowered Shot. It basically just generates 1 point of temporary mana for free for you. You can have up to 5 mana at a time at 18th level, but if you wanted to have that cap of 5, it would only cost you 4 mana. When you hit with a ranged weapon attack, or use Piercing Shot, or use the Piercing Shot feature, you generate 1 point of temporary mana you can use to channel a strike power. Neat. So that takes care of the Arcane Archer. That was cool. Obviously, we're having conversations and tangents over here today, so these things take time. But this is one of the Forsaken Fighter subclasses, so we're just working through things. Seeking Shot, resolved. Piercing Shot, resolved. Resolved. So let's go back to the front of the list and look at the Arcane domain for the Cleric. We're going to go back into our document here. This I think has improved the Arcane Archer. I like seeing these new 2024 versions because it just helps reinforce what we've been doing with this martial power system for the past year. I'm very happy with that. Let's drop down here to the Cleric. I feel like I ran out of music. This playtest document, blah, blah, blah. Arcane, Arcana domain. There you go. So let's go up to, let's build an Arcana domain, shan't we? The Arcana domain already exists. Oh, that's right. It did exist in 2014. That's right. Hey, what's going on, man? Any thoughts on the Scion UA? I completely rebuilt the Scion as an intelligence caster. Just since you're asking, it's in the playlists. You can scroll through it. Just do a search for Scion. But yeah, here's the Scion. We rebuilt it. The energy die using a D6, D8, D10, D12. We scaled it the same as the monk. I love the Scion. The Scion is basically the answer that I was starting to ask of, if I take this martial power system, the martial power system is built for martial half-casters. What would that look like on a full caster? And the Scion is the answer to that. So I fucking love it. I think it's great. Yeah. We completely rebuilt it. Here's your mana pool for a long rest full caster. Start with 2, end with 80. Obviously, full casters can't use action economy to generate mana, but you have little tricks that allow you to pick things up. I converted the weird abilities that they gave it. The psionic power. I just shifted psionic power to be, you get the telekinetic and telepathic feats for free, and then you get these kicker effect, the telekinetic propel and the telepathic connection, to amplify the effects. But the telekinetic and the telepathic feats already exist. Just use them. So there they are. And then psionic restoration. When you finish a short rest, you regain a number of mana up to the max level of spell that you can cast as a scion. So like at first level, that's only 1 mana. At 5th level, it'd be 3 mana that I'd get back on a short rest. And once you do so, you can't do it again until you get a long rest. Psionic disciplines, you can choose to prepare psionic disciplines instead of spells. So just like with the spell point sorcerer that we built, you get your 23 prepared spells over the course of your character's 20 levels, and all those psionic disciplines, you can prepare those disciplines instead of spells. So you can load this character down with a shitload of psionic disciplines, and then gish into like a Psy Warrior or like a Soul Blade or a Monk, and utilize this. And this replaces your power die. So your energy die could be used as your power die if you've been in the martials. Energy dice, there you go. At 5th level, you can spend 2 mana for 2 energy dice. So when you're using psionic disciplines, they allow you to expend energy dice. So you can only spend 1 die at 1st level, 2 at 5th, 3 at 9th, 4 at 13th, 5 at 17th, just like you can with the martial power system that we've been looking at already. And then you got psionic modes. Psionic modes is the same as the innate sorcery rage feature, which is a bonus action. It gives you bonuses. You get your psionic subclasses, you get your feats, you get psionic surge, which is when psionic modes are active. When you have your rage active at the end of the 1 minute duration, you can choose to extend the duration by expending 1 mana to maintain concentration on it, as though it were a 1st level spell, and the effect ends early. So this is going to cost you like if you're maintaining 1 level of concentration by using psionic surge at level 7, you wouldn't be able to maintain concentration on a 4th level spell because one of your spell levels is eaten, but you'd still be able to concentrate on a 3rd level spell. So it gives you that extra bump of power for low level magic, but you'll never be able to cap out with your top level stuff while you're doing that. Until you get to 19th level, when you can concentrate on up to 10 levels with the spells at the same time, you would then be able to use Psionic Surge alongside up to 9th level spells. Epic Boon is Epic Boon. Enkindled Life Force, your Psionic Modes features is always active without expending an energy die to do so. Without expending mana. To do so. Sorry, language is a hangover. Glad you asked. And then here's your disciplines. Biofeedback. When you cast a Scion spell, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, adding your casting stat to the level of spell cast this way. Gain this many temporary hit points. Destructive Thoughts. When a creature succeeds a saving throw on a Scion spell that you cast, you can expend 1 mana to roll an energy die, adding your casting stat bonus and the level of spell cast to the result. Deal this much psychic damage to the target. it's all the things that we already saw in there, but we're just translating into the martial powers mentality. Ego Whip, when a creature triggers an opportunity attack, you can expend mana up to the max energy limit to roll an equal number of energy dice. So like at 9th level, we could roll 3d8, dealing psychic damage equal to the result of the die roll plus the casting stat. That's your Ego Whip now. So it's a scaling Ego Whip damage, so you could build your character around reactions to just be able to lash people with Ego Whip by triggering opportunity attacks. So this gishes really well. Like I could build a Monk Scion trip build that uses Opportunist to gain extra reactions. So when I trip you with an, like I could use Flurry of Blows to get 2 attacks. I could trip with both of those attacks. And 11th level, I'd have 3 attacks. I could then use Opportunist to sacrifice both of my attacks during my attack action, so I can have 3 reactions. So if I trip 3 targets, the downtrodden power allows me to make opportunity attack against creatures that are tripped, or rather, creatures that are prone. And then I could then use Ego Whip against each of them during combat. So I would eat up my bonus action to make the attacks to trip people. I would then cash out all my attack actions to be able to get extra reactions. And then when they get tripped, I could then use my reaction to trigger Ego Whip. So building a Scion Monk would actually be a really cool control build, for instance. Yep, so it's super fun, and then we translated all the subclasses obviously as well, giving them bonus spells and all that stuff. So just more stuff. But yeah, check it out in your spare time if you want. It's I think it's fun. I am looking for, like, it's a really good Gish full class build. Really, really good for gishing into. Super fun for multi-classing. Highly endorse. I like the class. I like it a lot. I'm going the wrong way. Arrgh, get me back where I belong. Get back, Loretta. Get back down to the cleric, and we'll build out the Arcana. Nice. I've been procrastinating on reading the new stuff, but I'm glad you have a positive take on it. It seemed like a lot of people out there were pretty dour. I mean, well, I have a big advantage in that I'm excited at seeing content, because every time Wizards does something, it reinforces and kind of holds up the changes that we've been making with this mana system. It just makes things better. Like the mana system I have for 2014, it was debatably stronger. All the stuff that are in here now is like really in line with, because like you get like Wizards is like handing out a bunch of free spell uses now. Like use the spell X amount of times for free per day or whatever, and that's I took all of those freebies away because you can cast so many spells with spell points. It's like I don't need to give you free spells, so I can take that feature away, and that makes spell points more reasonable. I'm not giving you free spells. I like the Archfey Warlock gets like stupid amounts of free Misty Step castings. We didn't take it away from you, but you can eventually buy it down, so it only costs 1 mana to use it. But it's still using your mana pool to expend it, and it is on a short rest, so it's using your short rest mana, but it's only using 1 point at a time. It has all those kicker effects. It's definitely worth 1 point of mana. And then you get your Eldritch Recovery, which gives you half your Warlock levels back in short rest mana when 1 minute a day when you do that. So you have an abundant uses of Misty Step, but it gets counteracted because you get so many free uses of Misty Step built into the Archfey, because the only way Wizards can improve spells that you get per day is by giving you a bunch of free ones. They are acknowledging that spell slots aren't enough to do all the cool things that people want to be able to do while they're adventuring. So they're having to make compromises, like, we're going to give you a bunch of free spells. So it seems like they're adding in all these random bells and whistles to try to lead into like the type of play that they want, when in my opinion the easy solution is just give them a fucking mana pool and just make things cost reasonable. 1 point per level of spell and 80 mana at 20th level, when it takes 9 for 9th level, 8 for 8th level, 7 for 7th level, 7th and 6th, that's 30 out of 80 mana. So a 20th level wizard has a mana pool of 80 points, and if you just want to cast your high level spells one per day, it's going to eat 30 out of your 80 mana. You only have 50 points left. So, like, sure, you could cast 10 5th level spells. Of course you could. But you could already, you could already cast, like, if you add up 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, all the spell levels that you get, the 2 6th, the 2 7th that you get, like the 4 1st, the 3 2nd, 3 4th, 3 5th, 2 6th, 2 7th, 1 8th, and 1 9th. That's 89 levels worth of spells that are pre-organized, that are pre-sorted into spell slots, giving you 6 spell slots of 6th level or above. We cap you at 5 spells above 5th level, like a 6th level spell, 7th level spell, 8th level spell, 9th level spell, but you still have to spend the mana for it, and then you've got your other 50 mana that you can then break up and utilize any way that you want during your own turn of combat. But ultimately, it's the same amount of spell points. I could organize it. It's actually 9 less, so you actually get less points using the spell point system. And if you wanted to, you could just break up those spell points into your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th level spell slots and just spend them like you normally would, but still be able to use all the mana mechanics that exist inside of this game. So it's like, I'm going to sacrifice what was a 5th level spell slot so I can free up 5 points, so I can add this kicker effect that's going to cost me 2 mana. Now I have this little floating variable of points. Like, you can do that if you want to adhere to the spell slot system because you think that's better balanced. You can still do that. This system lets you do that, but it gives you all these kicker features that you can sacrifice spell slots to trigger from level 1 to 10. So yeah, so whenever they come out with new content, it's like, this is going to be published. It's like, well, great. Then I can take that material, incorporate it, and then bend it and make it work inside this mana system more efficiently. I mean, that's why I'm excited about stuff. When I see them doing new stuff, everything they do is like, this makes my spell point systems better. This makes my spell points make more sense. This makes my spell points work more elegantly mechanically than what they're coming up with the solutions they have to come up with, because they're saddled with spell slots and the schools of magic that they have. We don't have those constraints because we design. We're designers. We're third-party publishers. So we can do whatever the hell we want. So, fun stuff. But yeah, I love this shit. Thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. They're all in here. Just use, since it's a read-only document for people, just hit Control F and you can go find Scion. Super easy. Let me get back on track here with the cleric. I do game design like this Mondays and Thursday nights, as well as Tuesday and Friday lunches. I'll be back on lunch tomorrow. And Monday through Friday in the morning, I do artwork for the books that I publish. So if you look at all the books that I have down below, you'll see all the artwork. I did all the artwork, except for the Subclasses Revivified. I was hired for that project, but I did all the monks in there. But all the other books that are listed down there, they're all my creations. I hired people to edit it and help me write them, and I did all the artwork for all of them. Yeah, there you go. And this is the Bard. So let's get into the Cleric, and then the Arcana Cleric. And then 7:30. Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Let's get through the Bard. Go down to the Cleric. And let's get through the graduated subclasses and get into the Forsaken there we go, back into the Arcana. So, okay, great. We already have Arcana. So let's see. First off, does the spell list still jive? Detect Magic, Magic Missile, Magic Weapon, Mistl's Magic Aura, Dispel Magic, Counter Spell as opposed to Magic Circle. That makes sense. Arcane Eye, Lena's Secret Chest, that all still jives. Big B's Hand, Teleportation Circle. Okay. Let's keep going. Arcane Initiate, you gain the following ability: Arcane Knowledge. You gain the proficiency in the Arcana skill if you don't already have it. You also gain expertise in the Arcana skill. Gain proficiency in Arcana skill and gain 2 cantrips of your choice. Cantrips. You learn 2 wizard cantrips of your choice. Whenever you gain a cleric level, you can replace one of these with another. You gain the following benefits. Arcane knowledge. You gain proficiency and expertise in the Arcana skill. And then cantrips. You can choose 2 cantrips from the wizard spell list. For you, these cantrips count as cleric cantrips. Whenever you gain a level in cleric, you can swap one for another cantrip on the wizard spell list. Arcane Abjuration. That no longer exists. Now we have Modify Magic, Dispelling Recovery, and Arcane Mastery. Okay, so let's see what these things are about. They might be the same thing, just changed name, right? Immediately after you cast a spell with a spell slot that restores hit points to a creature or ends a condition on a creature, you can cast Dispel Magic on the creature as a bonus action without expending the spell slot. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. That's a cool ability. When you restore hit points, is this still the same thing? I took this out of, what was it? Was it Skag? Or Tasha's, I don't remember. But now it's called Dispelling Recovery. Sure. I guess we were supposed to change that name for some reason. When you restore hit points to an ally when you restore hit points or remove a condition, when you restore hit points to or remove a condition from an ally by expending mana, you can also end one spell of choice. You can also, as a bonus action, you can cast Dispel Magic, targeting that ally without expending. This is an exception to that rule I just mentioned. This isn't giving you free spells to cast. This is giving you a second spell to cast as a kicker effect to spending mana already. You have to spend mana, you get the kicker cost. When you restore hit points to or remove a condition from an ally by expending mana, as a bonus action, you can cast Dispel Magic targeting that ally without expending mana. You can use this once, regaining it when you finish a short or long rest. Alternatively, you can expend 2 mana, no cost required, no action required, to regain 1 use. I'm not giving you free uses of it, but you get it back on a short rest or a long rest instead of just a long rest. So instead of giving you an ability score or bonus worth of them, I'm going to give you the spell at a lower cost. So you can use this. This is basically a second level spell that you can use as a bonus action on top of spending 1 point of mana for a very basic Cure Wounds, or as a kicker effect. But basically it's a downcast Dispel Magic as a bonus action that's used in tandem with a heal or a condition modifier that requires at least 1 point of mana. So that's a lot of how the sensibilities of mana, like this like I don't need to give you free uses of this. I can just make it cheap to use. So we've been going through a process of assessing, like, is this something you should get free uses of, or is this something you should be able to use once but then use your mana from your mana pool to spend instead of just casting a shitload of second level spells. You could be using this, like, this Dispelling Recovery a lot when you need it. And that is what, level 6? Oh yeah, there's Modify Magic. Hold on. Three, Dispelling Recovery, 17. Right, level 3, Modifying Magic. Modify Magic. How does this do? You can use your Channel Divinity. You can use your Channel Divinity to alter your spells as you cast them. When you cast a spell, and with our Cleric, you could regain uses of your Channel Divinity feature by expending 2 mana. So generally, if it's 6th level or lower, it costs 2 mana. Like 9th level, like above 7th level, like 7th to, like, say 14th level, it's generally like around 3, maybe 4 mana. And once you get to 17th to 20th level, a feature is like 4, maybe 5 mana. So 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 mana that you'll spend to regain use of a feature. But again, you're taxing your mana pool, and you've got a fuck ton of mana. So this helps you burn through your mana pool more quickly instead of just spamming Guiding Bolt 80 times as a Cleric. That's really efficient. It's really efficient. Modify Magic, you can use... Okay, great. So yeah, I like this. You can use your Channel Divinity feature to alter your spells when you cast them, period. Fortifying Spell. One targeted spell gains... Ooh. One target of the spell gains temporary HP equal to 2d8 plus your Cleric level. Tenacious Spell. When you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, choose one target of the spell you can see, roll 1d6, and apply the number rolled as a penalty to the target saving throw. When you cast a spell that forces a creature to make a saving throw, choose an affected creature to reduce the result of their save by 1d6. I don't have to adhere to the language that they use. And sometimes the way that I write, I think, is just a little bit more straightforward, a little less mealy, like difficult to chew mealy. Arcane Mastery, let's see what you're all about. You learn 4 wizard spells, one from each of levels 6, 7, 8, 9. You thereafter always have these spells prepared. Whenever you gain a Cleric level, you can replace one of these spells with another wizard spell of the same. Jesus Christ. That's strong. Okay, cool. It looks like that was already the feature. Huh. Here I was thinking that was really cool. You choose 4 spells from the wizard spell list, one of each of the following levels: 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th. You add them to your list of domain spells. Like your other domain spells, they are always prepared and count as cleric spells for you. There you go. Okay, so that's the arcane. That's the arcane domain. I still like it. I still like it a lot. What else you got? What you got? What you got? Tattooed monk. Okay, buddy. Let's go. Let's go play with that. This is Artificer. Warlock. Oh, that's right. They rebuilt the Hexblade. We'll take a look at the rebuilt Hexblade and see how it is. But first, let's... Oh yeah, we got rid of the free use of spell for the paladin. We got rid of the free paladin's mount. You get 23 fucking spells. You can afford if you want a paladin's if you want summon mount or whatever it's called. You can afford to get it. So just pick it up. That's on you. I don't need to give you a free spell like that. You don't need it. Way of the Long Death. What is it called? Tattooed Warrior? Cool. Way of. Forsaken Monks. We're going to call this. I'm just going to copy pasta. These are 2014 subclasses. These are 2014 subclasses. And UA content rebuilt for 5e24 with martial powers. Way of the Ascended Dragon is now Tattooed Monk. Is that how we spell tattooed? Yep. Bonus powers when you choose a subclass to level 3. At the levels above, you get bonus powers are always prepared without counting towards your total prepared powers. We'll have to replace Draconic Discipline with you are something or other. I'll have to replace 3rd level of this with when you do something or other, something happens. Replace level 6 with while you whatever bloody blah something happens. Level 11 as a something or other bloody blah, and then level 17 you something or other, who knows. Okay, so what are the features? Magic tattoos, and beast tattoos. Level 6 is celestial tattoo. Nature tattoo. Monster tattoo. Uh-oh. I'm concerned. I don't know. We'll see. I'm concerned. I already don't like. I'm already questioning the structure. But let's not get ahead of myself, shan't we? Let's shant. Snake jazz. Magic tattoos. You gain the magic tattoo described. You gain the magic tattoos described by other features of the subclass. The tattoos appear on your body whenever you wish. Damage or injury doesn't impair the magic tattoo's functions. A magic tattoo's depiction can look like a brand, scarification, birthmark, pattern, blah. If the tattoo's effects require a saving throw, you have a DC like everyone else. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can reshape one of your magic tattoos, changing the option you chose from one list to another option on the same list. You gain 2 animal tats. Choose 2 tattoos from the following options. Bat, butterfly, let's see. Dancing lights cantrip, 1 focus point. When you expend 1 focus point to use patient defense or step of the wind, you gain blind sight with a range of 10 feet for 1 minute. Okay, I suddenly like these very, very much. Butterfly, you know the light cantrip. You can expend 1 focus point to cast silent image without material components. Okay. Chameleon, you know the minor illusion cantrip. You can expend 1 focus point to cast disguise self. Crane, you know the guidance cantrip, and when you miss a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, you have advantage on the attack rolls for any remaining unarmed attacks that with that use of flurry of blows. Horus, you know the message cantrip, and you can expend 1 focus point to cast Long Strider without material components. This is using the 1 point per spell level, if you notice that. Let's double check. Beyond. Look at that, first level spell. Spending 1 point of mana for a first level spell. See, they're coming around already. Again, everything that Wizards does in 5e24 helps reinforce that the mana system that we built is correct. Mending spell. When you hit a creature with an attack granted by your flurry of blows, the creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. That's the Vex Mask. No. That's the, not Sap. Is it Sap? Yeah, the Sap Mastery. Tortoise, you know, Spare the Dying cantrip. You can spend 1 focus point to cast False Life without material opponents. Level 6. Find Traps, 2 focus points. You can expend 2 focus points to cast Misty Step, 2 focus points to cast Invisibility, 2 focus points to cast Lesser Restoration. These are all 2nd level spells. 2 mana, 2nd level spell. See? This is why Wizards didn't include spell points in 2024, because 1 spell point per spell level with a pool of 80 mana for a full caster just makes too much sense. People be like, why the hell are we using spell slots? But I'm biased, so don't mind me. 11, 3rd level spells, huh? As a magic action, you can expend 3 mana to gain resistance to acid damage and advantage on Constitution saving throws for 1 minute. Okay. Storm, as a magic action, you can spend 3 focus points to gain resistance to lightning damage and advantage on Dexterity saving throws for 1 minute. Volcano, magic action, you can spend 3 focus points to gain resistance to fire damage and advantage on Strength saving throws for 1 minute. Wave, as a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to cold damage and advantages on Wisdom saving throws for 1 minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Con, Dex, Strength, Wisdom. No Ca or Int. Okay. Monster attacks. You have a fly speed of 10 feet and can hover. Additionally, you can expend 3 focus points to cast Counter Spell, 3rd level spell, 3rd level blink. When you expend a focus point to use Patience Defense, you can expend 3 focus points to cast blink immediately after that bonus action. 2 focus points for Mirror Image, because 2nd level spell, of course. And when you would be reduced to 0 hit points but not killed outright, Your hit points instead change to a number equal to twice your monk level. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. And that's 17th level. Okay, I like everything about this. I'm totally cool with every single one of these. Do I want to take the time to actually write them out here on screen with you guys live? No. I don't. It'd be a big pain in the ass. Gain 2 animal tattoos. Celestial tattoo. Which one was that? You gain an additional magic tattoo depicting a celestial phenomenon. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Comet. 2 focus points to cast Find Traps. Misty Step. Eclipse. Sunburst. Oh, celestial. Got it. Oh, that makes sense. Huh. Okay. How do I want to do this? Everything about this is fine. Like I have, like all these things are good. The only thing. Give me a second. Like resistance to light. Okay, because we have the sustained power, which is wait for it. Adaptive resistance. While sustaining this power, you gain sustain means to like basically you turn it on. It doesn't require concentration, but it eats up spell slots. At first level, you only have 1 spell slot. At 17th level, you have 5 spell slots. So like I could pick up like elemental resistance for 1 slot each. When you sustain this power with 1 mana, choose 1 type of acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. You gain resistance to this type of damage and advantage on saving throws to reduce damage taken from this type. And I could have 5 points put into elemental resistance to have acid, cold, fire, lightning, and thunder, all 5 of them for 5 mana. That's permanently locked on until I am incapacitated or begin a long rest. But for 2 mana each, I could have energy for 2 mana. And the energy types are force, necrotic, psychic, radiant. And then natural resistance is for 2 mana. You get BPS, and you also get poison resistance. So you get all 4 of those for 2 points. You get 1 each for the energy resistance for 2 points, and then for 1 point you get the basic elemental damage for 1 each. So you could do that. You could pick up this prepared power. There's only 1 prepared power that gives you all of these options to basically pick and choose from. You just basically toggle through them and turn them on as you please, as an action or a bonus action, and they just stay on until you let them go. So that makes the nature tattoo pretty redundant. Advances on Constitution and saving throws for 1 minute. So let's go look at that. That might actually be relevant. Let's look at empowered ability. Choose 1 ability score. You have advantage when rolling checks and saves with that ability. And you gain the empowered effort exploit, which allows me to spend additional mana to roll dice to improve the results. You can channel this power more than once, simultaneously choosing a different ability for each point of mana sustained this way. So at first level, I could have empowered ability and choose any of the 6 stats, right? I can only have 5 at most. So that makes the nature tattoo between empowered ability and resistance, adaptive resistance, we can recombine them. So we can recombine these so that the nature tattoos are a single sustained power. Storm as a sustained power. No. Wait. As a magic action, you can expend 3 focus points to gain resistance to acid damage and advantage on Constitution saving throws for 1 minute. So if I were to repackage these things, it would always be on. As a magic action, you can expend. So as a sustained power, you can expend resistance to acid and advantage on Constitution saves for 1 minute. If I made it 2 mana, it would give you acid resistance and advantage on Constitution saving throws and ability checks if you had to make one. That would be 2 mana normally. And I'd be able to duplicate any of these effects for 2 mana each off of the sustained powers that we already have. You can reshape one of your magic tattoos, changing options you chose from one list to another option on the same list. So I get 2 here. I get 1 here. I get 1 here. I get 1 here. So that's 1, 2, 3. I get 5. I get 5 magic tattoos, and that's all I get for my class. That feels really thin. Look how much shit you get for the Arcane Archer. The Arcane Archer, I mean, you only get 8 shots to pick from, but you get 6 of them, which is more than you get to pick for the monk. And you get kicker, and you get the Ever Ready shot as a kicker effect, the curving shot as a kicker effect, and the arcane and just arcane shots in general are ramping damage kicker effects. This feels too restrictive. Let's see. There's so many things to spend sustained powers on. I feel what I want to do is actually repackage Mountain, Storm, Volcano, Wave. I want to repackage these. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, repackage these into 1 mana sustained powers. Instead of 3 points for a minute, it'd be 1 point to just perpetually be on. But it's going to get in the way of all the other things that you could do. And then the Monster Tattoo. And I would not limit you to 1 each. I would allow you to... So the Monk gets 23 powers just like everyone else does. So the way that I would do this is how many do we get? How many do we have? It's 8 o'clock. How long have I been doing this? 2 hours or so? 2 hours. So you get 10 bonus powers. So obviously, like, we get adaptive resistance and we get empowered skill. We would empowered ability. We would get both of those by 9th level. Adaptive resistance. And empowered ability. Also +1. I'm not sure about the rest of these. But you get 10 bonus powers. So we're going to have to figure that out. Let's go look at the rest of the list. How many are there? Let's start there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's 19 tattoos total. What I will do is you'll get I feel like what I want to do is give you a bonus 10 so you can pick, over the course of 17 levels, you can pick 10 of these as bonus spells. And the ones that you don't pick as bonus spells, the other 9, you could pick from the 23 powers that you would normally get anyway. So you get 10 of these for free. And then you get 9, you could pick 9 more of them on top of it. So that would be all of our bonus spells, but it doesn't actually give us any actual features. Like, again, everyone gets 10 bonus powers. So what are the features that you get? Maybe what I should do is find a set of 10 powers that make sense for you to get flavorfully for the tattoo. And then on top of that, at each of the breaking points, you can have this selection of options, and then you could choose to learn, like you could pick up, like at level 3, you get 2 for free. So bat and butterfly. But then I could spend 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could spend 5 of my bonus powers to pick up the rest of them if I wanted to. And then at level 6, I get the celestial tattoo. I'll get 1 for free, and then I could spend 1, 2, 3 more of my prepared powers to pick up the rest of them if I wanted them, for instance. So that makes sense. I like that. I think that actually works. So, but what I don't want to do is spend time here on stream with you guys to go through all of that. So, but what I do want to do is build out the list of. So I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm going to continue working on this and the Forgotten Realms subclasses tomorrow during our lunch stream, and then we'll come back Monday night and finish these things up. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off screen. I'm going to when I finish the stream, right now what we're going to do is we're going to finish out our list of bonus powers, and then off stream I'll go ahead and fill in the rest of these details, because you guys don't need to watch me cut and paste for like 20 minutes. You don't need to do that. Boring content. I would not expect you to do that. But then, so when we come back tomorrow at lunchtime to continue this with the sorcerer, we'll have this class built out. So right now, let's just go through and build the stuff. So like beast tattoos is something that we get. Let's see, you gain blind sight with a range of 10 feet for 1 minute. You gain blind sight with a range of 10 feet for 1 minute. Okay. Blind sight, silent image, minor illusion, guidance, message, mending, spare the dying. Blind sight. Okay, so beast tattoos, right? Blind sight is one of the options that we have to sustain, and it's 20 feet for mana. This is basically going to be for free with patient defense. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go to third. Let's look at our list of powers at third level. Actually, you know what? Aquatic anatomy and lycanthropy. Aquatic anatomy. While sustaining this power, you can breathe water and gain swim speed equal to double your speed. In addition, you have no penalties to melee attack rolls for attacking underwater. That's for 1 mana to sustain. And at first level, you can only sustain 1. You can sustain 2 at 5th level. So let's look at lycanthropy. While sustaining this power, you can shift form into a lycanthrope creature. Your appearance changes to adopt features of a creature of your choice, such as fur or scales, a beak, claw, fangs, tail, etc. And you gain these features. Heightened senses. I should probably bold this. Heightened senses. Whoa. Feral might. Natural weapons. Heightened senses. Gain advantage on wisdom, perception, and intelligence investigation checks. Feral Might, gain advantages on strength checks and saving throws. Natural Weapon, gain unarmed attacks that deal 1 power die plus your strength or dexterity modifier, bludgeoning, slashing, or piercing damage. Your choice when you channel the power. So that's what that does. So I think I want to give you lycanthropy and aquatic anatomy. So that's 1. And lycanthrope. Sus 1. Because you're getting animal tattoos at 3rd level. So those sustained powers, I feel, make sense. And then you would also be able to pick 2 tattoos that give you the kicker effect. Yeah, I think I like that. So let's look at what's 6th level? It's Celestial, right? And what does the Celestial do? Find traps, Misty Step. It's a celestial tattoo. So like stars in the sky and stuff. And we get 2nd rank powers at 5th, so that's in line. So what's 2 sustained powers that would fit in there that aren't already covered by those tattoos? I can't just duplicate. I can't just double down, because then it's just giving you basically a tattoo. So I don't necessarily want to do that. Celestial. Let's look at it again. You gain additional magical tattoo depicting a celestial phenomenon. Choose a tattoo from the following options. Expend 2 focus points. Sunburst, Restoration, Eclipse, Invisibility, Crescent Moon, Misty Step, Comet, Find Traps. You can automatically deal radiant damage at 5th level anyway, so giving you a modified damage type doesn't make sense there. Let's go check out exploits to see if there's anything cool that crops up that would be of interest. Oh, strikes. Maybe a strike power would make sense. Celestial events. Axiom Strike. Your weapon can deal radiant damage and increases damage high. The creature glows with faint light, negating the benefits of invisibility and concealment. The creature must make a charisma saving throw, or any illusion or shape change effect targeting the hit creature ends. The glow fades after 1 minute. So Axiom Strike, I think, is on theme. And what else? We're looking at celestial events, right? Celestial stuff. What might make sense of these for celestial? Maybe maybe life-stealing strike makes sense. You can deal necrotic or radiant damage, increase the power die by 1 die per mana channeled, and you gain temporary hit points. It's life-steal from Magic the Gathering. You deal damage, you get temporary hit points. Any temporary hit points that remain are lost. Poisoning Strike, Restraining Strike. Oof, Bursting Strike at 3rd rank. That makes sense. But we're too low level for it. What happens at 13? What happens at 11? Monster Tattoos. Bursting Strike would make sense for a second. Alongside Axiom Strike, Bursting Strike just makes a lot of sense. Bip, bip, ba-doo. What else makes sense? Asium Strike. Let's check reactions. Power ally, moving target, redirect, roll the hit, same grace. Interpose, bait and switch. Generate, Theurgy, Curse of the Clouded Mind, Curse of the Clouded, Cursed Brand, Allied Assault. Celestial stuff. Coordinated. Celestial stuff. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Quick help. Rush attack, slippery, subtle channeling, abundant step. Restraining hold. Vanish. No. Shit, it's only second rank. Goad, rally, shunt. Cursed brand. When you curse a creature, you can see to make saving throws against you with disadvantage. Firing traps, Misty Step, Invisibility, Lesser Restoration. Misty Step, Lesser Restoration, Invisibility, Firing Traps. Yeah, I'm not seeing the common thread yet. Man, what a challenge. Celestial Bodies. Let's go back to Sustained Powers and see if there's anything cool up in here. Oh, hold on. Any feats that might make sense? Poisoner, Piercer, Mage Slayer, Inspiring Leader, Mounting Combatant, Great Weapon Master, Grappler, Durable, Crusher, Crossbow, Charger, Athlete, Cannibalize, Actor, Healer, Savage Attacker, Tavern Brawler, Alert. Let's go with Alert. I don't know why, but Alert sounds right. Again, we don't gain any ability score bonuses from these as a prepared feat, but there's no prerequisites either. So yeah, I like that. Alert makes more sense the more I think about it. Bursting Strike, that's pretty good. Let's look at level 11. That's right, we took care of all that already with the things. Monster Tattoos, Beholder, Blink Dog. Mirror Image. You killed 0 hit points, not killed outright. Your hit points instead change to a number equal to twice your monk level. Okay. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again. Bursting Strike. Elemental stuff. Let's see. What would be something cool for a tattooist? Metabolism, Opportunist, Giant Growth, Deadly Presence. Knockout Strike, Banishing. Oh, Banishing Strike. That might not be a bad idea. Tattoos. No, not so much. Maybe not. Magic Tattoos. Counterattack. We already have that. Rider Revival is basically the Naga, so I don't want to loop that. Hexproof has reaction when a creature sees and uses magic action. Okay, we can go with Hexproof. Reaction 4. Curse of Exposure, Fate Spinner. Saving Grace. TK Bubble, Stupefy, Swift Shot, Unstoppable, Assassinating Damage, Resilient Save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, you can save succeeds, you take no damage or half if you fail. Yeah, let's do that. If anyone thinks they have better ideas for any of these after you look over the list, you're welcome to bring it up because I'm open to suggestions. This is just what's grabbing me right now. Hexproof is 4. What's another good one? Monster stuff, huh? Yeah, Unstoppable. Unstoppable. When an effect or condition other than incapacitated, unconscious, or death reduces your movement to 0, you can channel this power to retain your movement until the end of your next turn, even if you cannot take other actions. There you go. Okay, so that fills those in. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream here for now. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. I'm going to fill in these details off screen. They're going to be boring to watch me do all that work, but that's where we're at right now. So I want to complete that task. Hey, how about that on timing? So that's it for now, guys. I'm going to cut out of here. Thanks for everybody that's been hanging out and checking out the stream. I really appreciate you being around. Again, I do this Monday through Friday in the morning. I do artwork. Monday and Thursday night, we do this just like we were doing right now. We do more of this on Tuesdays and Friday at lunches. Here in Seattle at -8 UTC, I typically take lunch around 2:30-ish. So I'll be back around in 18 hours. Yeah, I'll be back on doing this in 18 hours. I'll be back on doing artwork tomorrow morning, doing a Bob Ross environment painting for Karnathi Heartland. I'll be doing that in 10 hours from now. So if you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Be welcome to join my Discord community to say what's up. And I will see you guys on the other side. Thanks a lot.